Saludos mi gente hermosa, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a Conversando con Deya. Hoy estamos aquí por la noche acompañándolos y listos para tener una conversación espectacular, como siempre tenemos en este segmento. Realmente a mí me place muchísimo poder estar siempre realizando este tipo de entrevistas porque traemos personas, historias increíbles y hoy vamos a tener un live espectacular porque vamos a tener el fundador de una plataforma que a mí en lo particular me encanta y vamos en lo que estamos hablando, déjame empezar a mandarle la conexión a la persona con la que nos vamos a conectar. Vamos a estar hablando con el fundador de una plataforma en lo particular me encanta, ya le acabo de mandar la invitación, que a mí en lo particular me encanta, porque se llama, oh Dios mío, ya entró por aquí. Eso sí.
Hola, Deya.
Hello, how are you? I haven't had a chance to say anything, pero déjame comenzar a decir
I'll let you do your stuff. I'll sit back and be quiet.
No. I just wanted to say, Peter es el fundador de la plataforma Latintalks. Es una plataforma de conversaciones sobre latinos por speakers latinos que viaja de ciudad en ciudad a través de los Estados Unidos, trayendo este mensaje de unidad, de empoderamiento, las voces latinas. Now, I want to welcome Peter ESTEVEZ officially. Now, welcome. I'm so glad to have you.
Hello, Deyanira. Thank you so much. I am so glad to be here with you. And thank you for all the love, all the support, all the encouragement, and for you being so welcoming to New York and being the backbone behind the Latin Talks New York. Thank you. You and Adriana have been incredible.
My God, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. We're going to try to do an experiment in here. We're going to try to do this bilingual because Peter's audience is mostly English speaking and my audience is mostly Spanish speaking. So let's see how it goes. Everything goes.
Let's do Spanglish. Let's do Spanglish.
Spanglish. Vamos a tratar de hacer la conversación en inglés, en español para la audiencia de ambos. Es decir, que paciencia. Pongan los comentarios si no les gusta, como lo quieren en español, si lo quieren en inglés, pero vamos a tratar de hacerlo aquí para todo el mundo. Primero que nada, Peter, what is Latintalks?
Mira, Latin Talks es una serie de pláticas y conversaciones donde líderes locales charlan, nos dan su plática, nos cuentan su historia, pero más importante que platicar su historia es explicar cómo superaron esas adversidades de su vida. ¿Okay? Ahora lo voy a repetir eso en inglés porque yo flujo un poquito mejor en inglés que en español, aunque soy mexicano, nada más que la falta de práctica. Latin Talks is a series of talks and conversations where local Latin leaders share the answers and solutions to challenges and adversities that one face. Okay? This idea was born out of a passion of mine when I started spending time in the personal development space. And I realized that when I went to a room, when I went to go see a Tony Robbins, when I went to go see Les Brown or Lisa Nichols or John Asseroff or Stephen Kotler or one of the many incredible thought leaders of our generation that have paved the way, when I looked around the room, there wasn't anyone that looked like me, that spoke like me, that sounded like me, that came from where I came from. In other words, the only Latino in the room was me, and if there was someone else in the room that was Latino, it was usually from the service staff, from the venue staff, where the event was being hosted, was being held. And I realized that in our community, Deyanira, okay, in the Latino community, there is very few Latinos like you and I that are mainstream in the stages, in the spaces, in the personal development space, which I think is an incredible platform that in the Caucasian and other advanced community has really catapulted people forward hundreds, if not thousands of years.
That's right. And why do you think that it's happening? ¿Por qué tú crees que no habemos latinos en esos espacios de crecimiento, de empoderamiento? Why are we falling behind?
Es una razón muy simple. Yo, en mi opinión, las familias latinas, particularmente los inmigrantes, nos hemos enfocado en sobrevivir, no en ser exitosos. Nos hemos enfocado a sacar a la familia adelante, ¿sí? Como decía mi papá, pues mientras yo les dé de comer y tengan un techo donde dormir, eso es suficiente. Well, that's not enough. We deserve more than that. And that's not negating my father's or my mother's efforts. That is that as a community, as a generation, as individuals, we have a responsibility every generation to move the next generation forward, right? So my parents brought me to a certain space. I have a responsibility to take my children's, and the generations around my children forward as much as I can. And that is one of the reasons that we created Excelente. Excelente is a movement that is committed to inspire, educate, transform, and empower the Latino community across the U.S. and the world. And we are doing that by having venues like Latintalks, where the local Latin leaders can come in there, share their story, but they don't share their story from pobrecito me. They share their story in service, okay? We are storytelling. We are storytelling. We're not sharing our story. And we're doing it in a way that we provide service, that you are able to take my story, your story, Adriana's story, okay, and anybody else's story, take our experiences, and you don't have to go backwards. You can use our book. You can use our life as your life experience so you can move forward, so you don't make the same mistakes, so you don't go through the same trials and tribulations. And my hopes is that at some point we are able to be on mainstream stages, even if it's not me, even if it's another Latino down the road, but that he or she or me or you or whoever it is on a main stage of mainstream America, empowering other Latinos across the U.S.
I love it. I absolutely love what you're doing. And I mean, I'm so inspired for the passion you have for all of this, really. Tell me what's going to happen in New York on November 20. What is where is the event? What time? Who are going to be the speakers? Tell me everything. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we have an incredible panel of speakers, and I got to open up my notepad to go over that, okay? We have an incredible panel of speakers. We have a total of 10 speakers, including myself. We have an incredible MC, Darilyn Castillo, who is an actress. She has a podcast. She's somewhat of a local celebrity in the New York City area, okay? And she's going to be emceeing the event. Thank you, Darilyn, for taking on this endeavor and for making yourself available. And then, of course, we have Alandis Tineo, who's also a speaker, Jose Tutiven, Kimberly Zambrano, Adriana De Beers, Ana Maria Caballero Gonzalez, Sacha Quintanilla, Dorothy Santana, Natalie Nieves, and of course, Deyanira Martinez and myself as a speaker. So we have an incredible panel. The way that we do this events, Latintalks has been modeled after TED Talks, okay? Very simple. We use the same format as far as the talks, 15 to 18 minutes long. Each talk has to bring some sort of value to the community, okay? And that value is added value. So our stories, in a way that we're storytelling, but we have 3 takeaways. So when somebody hears your story, they're going to remember what situation you were in, what did you do, and how did you apply that in your life? And that's what it's going to be about. So we do the story, we do the talks, and then from the talks, we go into a conversation. We open up to the panel. We have a panel discussion between all of us, kind of reinforcing the points of interest in each conversation. And then we open it up to the audience. You know, we did the Texas City tour, which included Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, and El Paso. Okay, and it is amazing, Deyanira, to see the hunger for the people to be able to speak about this type of issues. We're talking about mental health issues. We're talking about addiction, alcoholism, sexual abuse, poverty, illiteracy, but we're not talking about it from a negative perspective. We're talking about it as issues that happen, that permeate in our communities, but how do we dismantle them? How do we break the silence? How do we empower our community to move forward, to be able to realize that un tecito does not take care of your mental health, okay? Comete un taquito does not take care of your depression. I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. No, okay. Usualmente in our community, people tend to hide the problems. Like if somebody's having
Absolutely.
They hide it. No, nobody can know. This is a secret.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's exactly what happens. And what I realized, what I saw, not only from my family's patterns of behaviors, I saw that we are as sick as our secrets. Okay, the more we hide, the more we shame ourselves. The more guilt we feel with them ourselves. So that does not mean that you need to throw your dirty laundry out to the world, but you need to talk about it. You need to address the issues, and more than anything, we need to break the cycles of dysfunction, poverty, and illiteracy. Illiteracy is behind every shame, every guilt, every I'm not enough, every imposter syndrome. The more we prepare, the more educated that we are, the better empowered that we become. And the reality is that the majority of us Latinos that have migrated to this country, whether we're first, second, or whatever generation we are, most of our parents were immigrant parents with little or no education. So we are carrying 200-300 years or 2-3 generations of trash. Okay, we need to empty. Just like we download new programs in our phones, just like we update our computers, just like we go and service our cars, we need to service our soul, mind, bodies, and spirits so we can be better prepared to empower our future generation. We have a generational opportunity and an obligation to break the cycles of dysfunction, poverty, and illiteracy. And I'm going to do my damn best to do whatever I can in my part to do my part.
I absolutely love that passion that you have. And you're so right. I mean, estos círculos de pobreza mental, de que no puedo salir de aquí, de que porque mi familia llegó ayer, yo no puedo salir adelante. No, we really have to break that. Y voy a hacer un recap de lo que dijiste de los speakers ahora en español. Van a estar como speakers Alandis Tineo, va a estar como speaker Natalie Nieves de ABC, va a estar como speaker Adriana Devers, Sacha Quintanilla, a Kim Zambrano, José, se me olvidó el apellido de José.
TV10.
TV10, voy a tener el honor de ser una de las speakers. Y esto es un evento fabuloso. What people that want to attend, I know this is a free event, what people need to do in order to attend the event?
Listen, the event is open to anybody and everybody who wants to attend, okay? But in my opinion, if you're
Hilton
Latino,
Hotel, right?
Pardon me?
Hilton Hotel, Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah, the Hilton Hotel Manhattan. It is on Sunday, November 20th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a completely free event. I highly recommend it. It doesn't matter how old you are. You know, I have seen young children in our audiences, and they have literally been riveted and leaning forward, listening to the conversations, okay? Because the conversations that we are hosting, primarily during the Q&As, primarily during the panel discussions, they're thought-provoking. They're conversations that we knew we need to have in our households, but that have not been had, okay? So people are intrigued, people are interested, people want to be able to break the cycles, people want to know, you know, they're exposed today to personal development. They see Grant Cardone, they see Gary B, they see John Ashraf, they see Lisa Nichols, they see everybody, but they don't see anybody that looks at Deyanira or anybody that looks at Peter that is mainstream, that is talking about issues that permeate in our communities. I am incredibly grateful for the people that I have followed and that have taken me in this incredible quest. But at the same time, there was a missing link. And the missing link is that it has not been somebody from our culture, somebody that did not understand throwing that chancla across the room, somebody that did not understand that I had a lot of tea in my lifetime and my mental illness didn't go away, okay? Somebody did not understand that sometimes I drank because I was depressed, because I was hopeless, because I was in fear. Somebody did not understand that I was an imposter where I was at, not where I was going, okay? And a lot of people...
I know there are so many things behind you, and I know you're doing this for a very powerful reason. What is the story behind Peter ESTEVEZ?
Well, thank you. I migrated to the United States at the age of 10 years old with my 12 siblings, 6 brothers and 6 sisters, plus mom and dad. There was 15 of us. We lived in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath frame home, less than 900 square feet. I often say that we were so poor, I could not afford a dream. And that's a reality in many ways. And I say that in a joking way, but it's also reality. You know, my father was a blue-collar worker. He had a 3rd grade education. My mom was a homemaker. She had a 6th grade education. They got married when mother was 15, dad was 18. There were children raising children. Father was a hard worker. Mother was a great homemaker. However, there was a lot of dysfunction at home, from sexual abuse to poverty and illiteracy. You know, I chose at a certain time in my life that I was going to take the good things in my life. My father's hard work ethic, his resourcefulness, and my mother's incredible faith. And I was going to take those three, and I was going to do the best that I could with my life. It turned out that I have had a pretty good life. There's nothing I can complain about. Even my dark times had been pretty bright compared to what my parents went through, okay? Compared to their sacrifices. But I realized that a lot of the issues that permeated in my home was as a result of illiteracy, as a result of poverty, okay? As a result of dysfunction, as a result of the fact that nobody ever stood up and said, this cycle stops right here.
Right here with me.
Okay, with me. I decided that I didn't want to see my children or my children's children or my children's children's children go through the same pain, the same fears, the same insecurities, the same I'm not enough, the same imposter syndrome that I went through. You know, at the age of 24, I was able to accomplish incredible success, but at the same time, I was hiding between alcohol abuse, between womanizing.
People didn't believe it. You didn't accept that you were so successful.
Absolutely. I could not. I didn't feel that I deserved it. I didn't feel that I was good enough. I didn't feel that, you know, I felt like an imposter in my own skin. But the reality is, Deyanira, is that a lot of those issues, a lot of times they permeate, not because I was an imposter where I was going. I was an imposter because I had outgrown the illiteracy. I had outgrown the poverty. I had outgrown the dysfunction. But still, because I have not dealt with it, I have not gone to therapy, I have not done the work, I kept taking that 10-year-old little Pedro into the relationships, into the partnerships, into the marriage, and into the boardroom. And when that little boy got scared, he would destroy everything that I had worked so hard to build. It was not until I went back and addressed those issues, okay? It was not until I went back and did the work that I stopped self-sabotaging myself. And when I discovered, or when I realized that that was the issue, I realized that one of the reasons, or one of the many reasons that I was not able to see that with clarity is it was because there was no one around me that had achieved any kind of level of success. There was no one. Yeah, everything that I was running away from was so common in my community. There was no way to escape it unless I extricate myself from that community, and that was exactly what I needed to do.
And sometimes when we see that we're changing, we want to be like the others. We want to, like, let me forget about this. La gente va a decir que estoy muy por encima. Let me be like them. Let me just.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I went through that space. I went through that time in my life where I didn't want anything to do with my community. You know, I changed my name from Pedro to Peter. Okay. I moved as far away as I could from my neighborhood. I moved as far away as I could from
for denying a part of yourself?
Absolutely, I was. Because I was ashamed for a long time of where I came from. Because I identified where I came from with who I was. Okay? Where I came from is just where I came from. Who I am becoming is completely independent of that. But I could not tell the difference at some point in my life. Today I know, and today I am hoping that my experience becomes the light, becomes the guide, becomes the handbook for someone else, so they don't have to repeat the same pain, the same suffering, the same shame, the same guilt, the same I'm not enough, the same imposter syndrome that I experienced at some point in my life. Oh. You know, the advanced communities have done an incredible job of being able to dismantle these issues through personal development, through masterminds, through master classes, to the pursuit of education outside of traditional education, outside of a college degree, outside of a high school diploma, or whatever that might be. In our communities, personal development has not been prevalent because we can only afford to survive and not to thrive, okay? So when you live in that state of mind, it's very difficult for you to even think about taking a course online, or about even going to a seminar, or about reading a book, or about going to a master class, okay?
Nobody talks about personal development. Those are things that you encounter when you're like dragging into crisis situation. When you said, I have to do something for myself. But
absolutely.
That family, I mean.
Absolutely. So, you know, and the reality is that a lot of times we end up dragging ourselves right back to where we came from, because we want to save everybody at the same time. And I did that very early on. The reality is that many of times we need to put on the oxygen mask first, make sure we're safe and secure. And once you've done that, you go back, okay? And you clean your messes. And that's exactly what I'm doing, Deyanira.
Oh my God. Para las personas que se están uniendo, estamos hablando de Latintalks, una serie de conversaciones que se van a estar llevando a cabo este próximo 20 de noviembre en el Hotel Hilton en Midtown Manhattan. Tenemos a Peter ESTEVEZ, que es el fundador de esta plataforma. An amazing human being who's doing so much for our community. Thank you for bringing those conversations. Why New York? Tú eres un hombre que no juega. Tú me mencionaste New York y yo te dije enero y tú dijiste no, y ya vienes para New York.
Mira, acabamos de terminar la serie que hicimos en Texas, que fue Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas y El Paso. Y luego pensé, si nos esperamos hasta enero va a pasar mucho tiempo. Si pasa mucho tiempo, nos desconectamos. Perdemos el momentum que estamos creando. Para mí es muy importante, aunque yo sé que logísticamente Nueva York está retirado, es una temporada del año difícil para muchos de nosotros. Es la semana antes de Thanksgiving o la semana de Thanksgiving, ¿ok? Pero cuando me uno con personas como tú, Deyanira, con personas como Adriana, que pueden movilizar las cosas en 5 segundos, cuando me dicen, sí, que vente y lo hacemos y sin pensarlo, ¿ok? Y tenemos un grupo de 10 personas que están dispuestas a dedicar su tiempo, a sacrificar la familia, a pasarse un domingo contribuyendo al bienestar de la comunidad, ¿por qué no? Claro. Sería una injusticia que no lo hiciera.
Así mismo. Quiero saludar a varias personas que se están uniendo. Viani, mi amor, te quiero. Está Isabelita, está Sonja. Yo quiero asistir, dicen cómo nos registramos. Se registran yendo, ¿cómo es Peter?
Mira, actualmente la página web de Latintalks va a estar a partir de las 11 de la noche, pero las personas que quieran que se quieran registrar, simplemente vayan a la página de Instagram de Latintalks, manden un mensaje, nombre y email. Tan simple como eso. Y el número de personas que va, ¿ok? Y ya mañana alguien del equipo los busca. Okay.
Yo realmente pienso que es una oportunidad grandiosa tener un evento de este tipo. Yo he visto lo que tú has hecho en los otros estados, increíble en Nueva York. Vamos a estar justo en el corazón de Midtown Manhattan, Hotel Hilton. Eso es ahí mismo, todos los trenes llegan. Y es una oportunidad de conectar con nuestra comunidad y de conectar con los temas que nos impactan, que nos importan y crear esos círculos de apoyo y de nosotros somos una fuerza tan extraordinaria en este país, pero todavía no nos lo creemos, todavía estamos dudando de todo lo que puede hacer un latino en Estados Unidos. Llegamos sin papeles, sin conocimiento, con pobreza, en niños, sin nada, y construimos cosas extraordinarias. Entonces, si usted está en Nueva York, yo les recomiendo que esto es un evento que no se puede perder, porque estos son esos eventos que cambian la vida, definitivamente que sí.
Así es, va a ser un evento histórico. Déjame comentarte que de acuerdo a las estadísticas del censo 2020, habemos 60.1 millones de latinos en Estados Unidos. Está proyectado que para el 2060 vamos a ver más de 110 millones de latinos en Estados Unidos. 1 de cada 4 ciudadanos para el 2060 será latino, ¿ok? Otra estadística muy importante es que de este gran número de personas que habemos de latinos, el 37% no ha terminado la preparatoria. El 30% solo habla español o su lengua nativa. Y más del 50% no tiene licencia para conducir. Estos son temas que no nos tenemos que arriesgar tanto a cuántos somos, porque lo que queremos es una comunidad que tenga un valor de aportación, que esté educada, que esté preparada, que se sepa aculturar a Estados Unidos, que te sepa mover, que no se tenga que andar escondiendo, que no tenga miedo, que no ande con la cabeza caída.
¿Okay? Que no se menos y que sea parte
de la contribución del crecimiento, no solo para ellos, sino para su familia y para la comunidad, porque es la única manera que realmente vamos a hacer números importantes en Estados Unidos, ¿ok? Si no, solamente vamos a seguir siendo un número.
Y tenemos
A mí lo que me interesa es que seamos un número contribuyente de una manera preparada.
Y tenemos que cambiar el mindset. Y cambiar el mindset comienza con asistir a eventos como estos. Es decir, la gente se pasa un día tomando, bailando, pero cuando sacamos el tiempo para nuestro desarrollo personal, de ese regalo, va a conocer el Hilton totalmente gratis y va a estar con gente con una vibra increíble. Le digo que estos son los eventos que le cambian a uno la vida. Peter, if you have the ability to make a change in our community, what will be the change?
I think the biggest change that I could contribute to is education. Okay, and I'm a firm believer, Deyanira, that not everybody needs to go to college, but every one of us needs an education. And the pursuit of education is a form of the greatest freedom that any one of us can achieve. My life's changed as a result of an education. Okay, I have broken cycles of dysfunction, poverty, and illiteracy because of education, and not necessarily formal education. I have had an opportunity to pursue a higher education later on in life, but learning to read, learning to take courses, learning to be around people, you know, there's a reason why you have somebody like Grant Cardone being as successful as he is, or somebody like Jan Ashraf. There's a reason why the movie The Secret came out, because there's a completely mythology behind doing certain rituals and practices. You know, I am a firm believer that as human beings, we operate from 5 pillars: the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the financial. Okay. As Latinos, we only operate from 1. Okay. And that is the seek for the financial. We don't even achieve it because we live in a star. We have been taught as young boys, as young girls, to survive and not to thrive. I truly believe that with the amount of experience, with the grit, our work ethic, okay, gene de guerrero that we have within us gives us the opportunity to empower us to be able to be capable of doing anything that we want to achieve. And I think that if we begin to open up our minds to develop habits, when you are able to go to our event on Sunday, November 20th at the Hilton Manhattan, and you're able to hear how Deyanira was able to publish books, to be on multiple stages, why Adriana was able to write several children's books, why Natalie is able to be a correspondent or a producer for NBC or ABC. If I chopped it up, I apologize in advance.
I always made the same mistake with her. She said, it's not ABC, it's NBC. I always.
Okay, so that's the reality. The reality is that all of us collectively has something unique about us. Okay, but if we keep it to ourselves, it is selfish. Okay, if we share with the world in service, it's an opportunity for somebody to piggyback on our success, however minimal or however grand it may be, and to have an opportunity not to repeat the same mistakes that we've done. Okay, more importantly, when we grow as human beings, we allow the people behind us, our children, our nieces, our nephews, our brothers, our sisters, even our parents, to look at us as changing hope. And that's a responsibility that we should take very serious.
Absolutely. So I hope to see everybody there on November 20, 9 a.m. Hilton Hotel. Van a conocer a este hombre maravilloso. Thank you so much, Peter. De verdad, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be part of this. And you know what? I like this bilingual theme. I might do this again.
Absolutely. Cuando gustes. Remember, go to Latintalks on Instagram. Send us a message. All of y'all have Instagram because that's how we're communicating with you. Go to Latintalks, one word, and just send us a message that you want to go to the event, your name, your email address, and you are registered. Bella will send you an email tomorrow that you are confirmed for the event. Okay? And for those of you that catch on later, the site should be up today after 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's latintalks.co.
Perfecto. CO, no com. CO, para que no se...
CO. Así es.
Peter.
And if you can't find it, reach Deyanira or reach me on a personal message. Gracias. Buenas noches.
Y gracias a todos por estar ahí. Y ya saben, de ese regalo y la oportunidad de ser parte del cambio impresionante que está pasando con nuestra comunidad. Los quiero mucho.
Igualmente. Gracias. Hasta luego.
Bye, bye.